Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Q&A session for one of the last films of the festival. This is For Maria Ebun Pataki, and we are going to be joined with the director and one of the lead actress of the film. So Damilola, oh, okay, Damilola and Meg with me. How are you guys?
Hey, we're
Hi,
doing
Meg.
good.
Hello.
Hello, good seeing you. Good seeing you, Damilola.
Good to see you guys.
Um,
Meg.
yeah, and this is thank you for being with us. This film is coming right after a conversation that we also had at the festival about outhouse films and how outhouse films in Nigeria, the space that they can have or not in the Nigerian ecosystem in general. And I think it was really fitting to have this film right after a very emotional film. So quickly to introduce you, Damilola, to our audience. This is your first feature film.
Yes,
This is
it
your first
is.
feature film. You have done quite a few shorts before, which have been widely successful, going to different film festivals, and uh, and you actually have another film in the Nollywood Week, which is Heaven Baby. So you have a feature and a short, which is quite a feat. It's not that many of that have two films in the selection. Um, but I will jump right in and ask you the first question. These two films that we have in the festival in Nollywood Week are both related to pretty much the same topic, which is giving birth. Uh, uh, and so I would be interested in exploring why you have made two different films about that, and yeah, I would like to understand your thinking on that.
um, Firstly, thank you very much, Serge. Thank you very much for the selection. I mean, like you said, having two films in the festival is no small feat. Funnily, I would say about what you just asked about having Ebun Baby and for Maria talking about almost similar topics. I would say it's not exactly intentional. I mean, for Maria was quite intentional. I wanted to make a film in that subject matter. But I got a script for Ever Baby after making For Maria, and I was like, oh wow, okay, this is like an extension of For Maria. I mean, this is like a woman who doesn't want to give birth at all, and then she's trying to journey through that through that space. For me, I kind of like, I'm very, very interested in human related stories, subject matters that kind of like people can relate to in society. And then one of them has been mental health for me. So one of the similarities between the two films is the issue of mental health, which is being addressed. And then it's because most time I've realized that most Nigeria generally, or Africa generally, we don't actually take mental health seriously. Most of our decisions are based on selfish reasons, and when it concerns mental health, we tend to like foster it towards spirituality as to what is actually happening in the physical, as it's not realizing that these things actually happen. So these are stories that people are conversant with, people have heard before, but trying to bring it to the screen and tell it in a very subtle, in a very emotional way. For me, it was just something that came to me at that point, and I realized, okay, I need to just tell this story, and then yeah, there you have it.
Thank you, and it's interesting also to mention here for our audience, which is more European based and also global. It's interesting to bring some elements of context. In Nigeria, giving birth is celebrated. I mean, it's celebrated all over the world. But I would like to put an emphasis on that because obviously the way the character suffered from depression after giving birth is either something that is not common in Nigerian society or something that is not discussed at all. So how taboo would you say this film is in Nigeria, and how would be the reception? I believe the film hasn't really been shown in Nigeria, at least not widely. But what do you anticipate as a reaction from the audience to such a topic?
So primarily, I agree with you. I feel like the subject matter is actually something that actually really happens in Nigeria. There is so many cases of postpartum depression, but people tend to address it as something else. So people don't take it as postpartum as this is a mental issue. People just think, okay, there's a stigma attached to it. It's almost like this is spiritual. Like I said before, it's a spiritual thing. Why would you want to be distant from your family, from your child, especially? Like you said, giving birth is like one of the best things. I mean, getting married and giving birth is like one of the best things that could happen to a woman. So when you give birth, why don't you want to be attached to the baby? Like that is something that most people do not understand. I feel like it's very, very rampant in Nigerian society, in the African society generally. But people don't take note of the essence of it. Like, why is this thing happening? People don't ask these questions. For example, I would say I feel like the older generations tend to believe so much in this cruelty. I'll say it's cruelty, and then also in this idea of, okay, this is not like this is not supposed to be happening. I feel like generation of nowadays are coming to the point where we're talking about mental illness, we're talking about these issues. One of the reasons why I made the film was, so I was going through a thread on Twitter shortly before I wrote this. I mean, before I even conceptualized the story itself, and it was a thread of young ladies actually talking about their experiences after giving birth. So some were talking about how they suffered baby blues and the rest. And then I realized that this is actually a huge thing. This is something that actually goes on. And then these younger people are not shy to understand that this is postpartum. So it's just about what do we do next? How do we teach, or how do we or give orientation to people that don't have access to education, to enlightenment, to understand that this is actually a real thing, not spiritual. And then I feel like the essence of making this film is also in this light. The film hasn't been screened in anywhere close to. I feel like this screening is actually like anywhere that's close to Nigerian space. And one of the things we're planning to do is to have like a session, or to say to have a session basically to back it up. I mean, when the film is eventually comes to Nigeria, to have like private screenings that doesn't just show the film, but also serves as an orientation to people in rural setting, people that don't have so much education, people that still believe that this is a taboo, and tell them that, come, we need to actually like tackle this thing like the way it's like a mental illness. We need to like actually help, because people have lost their lives for this. People have lost a lot of things. People have lost their kids, their babies. So we need to actually address it in that dimension. And I think that is like really what we're trying to do. And then, yeah, I'm glad. I can't wait to screen this in Nigeria.
No, so what I understand is that you want this film to not just be a regular screening. You want that to be a conversation starter, and you want to
Yes.
engage with the community with that film, which is really it's really important. And like you said, I think it's very timely to discuss these issues, especially when there's, like you said, a younger generation that is more that is less adverse, at least, to this kind of topic.
Yes.
I'd like to bring it on to Meg, the lead actress that has done a fantastic job in the film, and we'll talk about casting after as well. But Meg, I would like for you to tell us about the process of becoming Darren. Like, for those who don't know you've played all kinds of characters. A lot of times you play the love interest. So this is very different. This is very far from the kind of roles that you normally play. So what does it take? And I know, for instance, that you also had to gain weight to to play this role. So please walk us through the process.
Becoming daring. It was. Let me start from the point where Dami gave me a call to say he had a script that he thought we should work on. Oh, to start with, he wanted me to. He had reached out to me earlier because he wanted me to be a part of his short film, the short film he was working on at the time. But then he had to change. I accepted to be a part of it, but then he had to change the schedule for the filming, and then it was clashing with some other thing I had to do, so I couldn't be a part of that. But then we kept on, we were talking back and forth, and I wanted to work with him because Damilola is one of the younger filmmakers in Nigeria that I really respect. And I for me, I'm also working with them because they are daring, they are not afraid to speak up, to create the kind of content they want to create. So he was definitely one of those that I had on my list to work with. So when he reached out to me, I was really excited about that. And then I couldn't do the short film, and then eventually over time he sent me the script for Maria. And when I read it, I thought it was scary to start with, because obviously the amount of work that I had to do to become Darian, it was, for me, it was quite scary. But we got talking. It was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of collaboration, actually, creating the character Darian, just giving her a backstory. And for me, that's a huge part of a huge part of an actor's work is just knowing the character you're playing, understanding her journey, her past, her present, her what she wants in life, and all of that. So it was a period of us just talking, even physically, agreeing on what we thought would work. Obviously, Dami had an idea what he wanted her to look like. Her hair, for instance, he gave me the reference of the hair, what he wanted her hair to look like, and I said, okay, I can work on that. Then over time, it went, I think, weeks, where I said, okay, I think if I let my hair out for some days, I might give you the results you want. We did that back and forth, where every morning I'll take a picture of what the hair looks like. Okay, this is where we are now in 2 days. This is what you will get, because I have natural Afro hair. It can be a bit tricky to work with. So we did a lot of that in preparing. And then with the weight, he said, oh, Davilala said something very crazy, and I'm going to be sharing it for the first time. So he told me that obviously the character just gave birth, and he didn't want me to use any, pads on the belly or prosthetics or anything, that he wanted to show my belly. And he sneakishly asked if I had plans of getting pregnant, or if I could get pregnant. so it would make the job easy for him. Yeah, Damilala, yes, I had to expose you on this one. So I laughed so hard that
As
it
a
was
method
crazy.
actor,
But then I'm like, this dummy guy maybe just, creatives are a bit weird. Like, was he actually serious? I'm just kidding. So when he told me he wanted to show the bare skin, I said, okay, we could work on that. I knew, as a woman, things that make you bloat. And if I gain some weight, and I stayed bloated. I ate some kind of things. I will stay bloated till we're able to film it, and that's what we did. I was able to gain. I gained 7 kg in about 2 weeks, I think, and this helped a lot during filming because I felt physically and mentally heavy, which worked for the character. Yeah, so that was what happened in terms of like, preparing physically. And but then getting into that space, honestly, I have an idea what it means to be depressed. Postpartum, maybe not necessarily postpartum depression, but depression as a whole. And if you've ever been depressed, you know the level of tiredness that comes with it. It's more so just exhaustion, feeling tired, maybe not necessarily being able to pin it to something, but there's a lot of tiredness. So I understood that part of it. I needed a few other elements to know, okay, yes, with depression, it's more like you're just done, you're tired, there's a lot of weight on you, but I needed to be able to connect it to postpartum depression, a woman who just gave birth, what exactly goes through her mind.
So, so,
And
so
at that point that they're researching, yes?
no, I was going to say then I mean, sorry to cut you off, but so Damilola asked you if you were going to get pregnant anytime soon. But you don't have any children, right?
No, I did not for now. Not yet.
So, so in terms of the preparation, did you have to, I don't know, call up some of your friends that went through pregnancy? Like, how was that? Because I'm also interested in that because when one watches the film, the mannerism, like everything, is really on point. It really looks realistic, and so I wanted to know if you had some extra help to get there.
Yes, when I got to the actual research, I spoke a lot I have a lot of sisters who have kids, who've had kids. Some have experienced, their pregnancy journey to the point of giving birth and after, so I was able to talk to them and also recall memories from, being around them and also with friends. And what I found out was how rampant it was as a problem, this postpartum depression. It's just unfortunate, like Dami said, that people don't want to talk. People are not open to talking about it, I guess, because of the stigma attached to it. But when I started researching and asking questions, it turned out that a lot of women actually go through depression after giving birth. And one particular experience that shocked me, which is actually quite similar to the story of Derry, was a woman who happened to be the wife of a colleague of a friend of mine who works at the bank. So when I started asking friends questions and family members, it led me to this guy whose wife had taken her own life, because she gave birth, she couldn't connect with the baby, and she couldn't talk to anyone because she didn't think anyone would understand. Only her colleague at work, she told a few things, and it was not until she passed that the husband knew, that most people knew what the problem was. There was also another story of a woman who took her life because she had thoughts of hurting her newborn. She had no idea what it was, and for her it was safer for her to kill herself than to harm the baby. And so these were the stories that I uncovered in my research. Also talking to, like I said, family members who had given birth, and a lot more women go through this thing that would think, because I feel that part of it is actually also not knowing what to expect after giving birth. Because people feel like, oh, you're just going to be, there having a great time with your baby, looking into the baby's eyes and just being happy and all of that. So I'm very happy for this movie. I'm very excited, at the conversations that hopefully we would begin to have when there are more screenings over here in Nigeria and in Africa at large. Because like Dami said, when it comes to issues of mental health, people shy away from these things. Not a lot of people are open to talking about it like it's a taboo or some kind of spiritual problem. So showing that this is, mental health, and it should be okay for people to speak up and get help. So yeah, I'm excited for that, and how helpful it would be when people get to see the film.
Yeah, no, this is amazing, and it's definitely a conversation that needs to happen. There's definitely that lack of of communication really around this kind of issues. Damilola, I want to get back to the casting element. You called Meg, so you knew from the beginning that you wanted to work with her, or not? How did that work? And same question for Gabriela Folayon. Is that are these the characters that you had in mind when you were writing the script?
We're supposed to work on a short film, and then we couldn't. I mean, I've always admired Meg's work, and then I love to vibe with actors, so I love to listen to them and get their spirituality, if I say. I mean, in terms of acting, basically, and then see if it matches. And then we've spoken for like let's say a space of a year, just talking about films generally, talking about the art space. And so when I got to the point where I was writing for Maria, I started thinking who to use, and then there was no other person that came to my mind. I mean, she was just, I didn't tell her when I was writing. I just said, okay, you know what, when I'm done with the script, I'm going to send it to her. So she was the first person that we casted for the film. So when we're done with the script, I sent it to her, and then, yeah, we started conversation around that. I just knew she was going to be suitable and then perfect for it. Concerning Gabriel, funnily, so this is like a backstory now. The film was written to be in Igbo language, so not Yoruba language. I mean, for some weird reason, I just like the Igbo language, despite the fact that it's not my natural tongue and I can't speak it. But I just like the sound of it and then the vibe of it. So I'd written the film to be in Igbo, and then I'd like other actors. Of course, Gabriel is not Igbo, so I'd like other actors in consideration for that role. But for some reasons, I mean, different reasons, all the actors we linked to the film for the particular role weren't working. And we got to the point where, okay, I thought to myself, I was actually, myself and Meg were actually talking about the casting. We did majorly most of the casting. So I said to her, I'm like, okay, you know what? Why don't you switch it up to like Yoruba, you know? And then it's great because we have Tinamba who could perform excellently in Yoruba and then in Igbo, like effortlessly. So I said, okay, you know what? Why don't we make this film in Yoruba? I mean, that's like my tongue. I mean, why am I really shying away from it? So I changed my mind, and then at that point, there were a few actors that are Yoruba that basically I could think of, you know, when I'm talking about this role. And then one of them was Gabriel Folayo, an actor who I'd also admired for a long period of time. So I reached out to him. He liked the script, and then he jumped on it. I mean, funnily, this was like few weeks before we actually shot, and then he jumped on it. And then right now, I think I made the best decision. I feel like the film could have been better, you know, if I had made it in Igbo language. I feel like it's perfect Yoruba because I mean I can understand the nuances, you know, there's something about Yoruba, the way, the charisma, you know, on set I could understand it, and I feel like we're just like a perfect decision to actually go with that language and then to go with Gabriel Afolayan. It was like a match made. I mean, at the point, even on set, we thought we were married. Like I thought Gabriel and Meg were actually married. I mean, it was so perfect.
Well, I mean, you have some great actors between Tinamba, Gabriel, and Meg. I think you could not really go wrong.
Thank you.
We have one question from the audience that I want to bring here. Okay, it's a bit wordy, so I'm going to try to summarize it. But basically, it says the film shows a problem, but you could you have gone further and also show what the solution of this problem could be, or was the fact that you stopped at the problem a creative decision? I think I'm summarizing this question correctly. What would you answer to that, Damilola?
Yeah, so for me, I feel like I mean I've actually had this question before, and I feel like art doesn't have to like paint the you know, like the question and then the answer. Like you don't have to have the two in the particular film, you know, or artwork or whatever. So for me, creating the issue or telling the issue in the realest form, the most authentic form was like priority for me. Concerning the resolution, concerning what people should pick out in terms of like, oh, how do we go about this? I feel like was in this film in a very subtle manner. I mean, for example, you hear the doctor talking about, you know, she needs to speak to someone. At the first, the family didn't understand that she was actually dealing with an issue that is beyond herself. So I feel like these are like very subtle nuances that are like embedded in the film, but it wasn't like adequately focused on, and it's an artistic choice. And one of the reasons why I did that is because I want the film to actually leave off conversation. Like at the end of the film, let's have conversation about postpartum depression, about mental health, about solutions. I feel like there is no amount of solution that can be provided in the film that will actually makes. I mean, it might make sense, but that might actually make sense in the entirety as to we actually having a conversation like this and then talking about real life issues, experiences, and then talking about possible solutions.
Okay. That's it's a bit of a it's a bit of a silly question, but most some directors, at least, when they make a film and then they make another film in the same theme, then there's definitely a third one that is coming. So now that you've made a film like Heaven Baby about the decision on having a baby
Give
on
me a sec. Nigeria just happened.
Okay, no problem. we can turn on to Meg in the meantime. Meg, I wanted you to tell me about the chemistry with Gabriela Folayon. Yeah, like because you guys work very well together, very well on screen, and yeah, I wanted you to tell me about that. Was that the first film that you shot with him? And also, yeah, tell me more about that relationship during the whole process of filming.
Yeah, Gabriel is someone that I have immense respect for, as an actor, as a creative. And it's always a lot of fun working with him. We had worked together on a project, I think, but that was years ago, 2000 and, what was it, 2015, or yeah, 2014, 2015 there, but it's been a while. And since then we talk from time to time. We meet at industry events and we talk about how nice it would be to work together again, since the last time, it's been a while since that happened. So when Dami changed the story to a Yoruba setting, and his name came up, I was excited because already someone I felt I had a chemistry with. Gabriel is one of the, if I can say that, he's one of the best actors, in my generation in Nigeria. So working with him was such an honor, and he's so natural. He's so real. There's nothing as beautiful as sharing a screen with someone who just feeds you. You can feed off of the right way. Just gives you the exact amount of energy you need, for every scene, and just understanding the essence of every scene with you, and somebody you're able to also have like an honest conversation with, like before a scene. And there's so much trust, because as actors, they have to be able to trust yourselves going into a scene. So what you see is a result of a friendship, trust, and collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it shows. It definitely shows on the screen. There's also the relationship with Chinamba, who has played the role of a mother, and sometimes an evil mother, like quite often in Hollywood. How was that working with her?
Chinamba is an incredible actor. She's played my mother before. She played my mother in Before 30, I think. Yes, she played my mother Before 30, and she is such a powerhouse, and it was just beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience working with her. We had a great time really with her. It was a lot of fun. It just felt, and that's the thing. I think, like, with the right, if you get your casting right, like 75% of the job is done, really. And the casting for me was perfect. So it made everything beautiful. Working with them, I can't wait for us to do it again, because it was just, it was beautiful. It was flawless. And it just made everything easy. Like I said, it comes back to trust. There were times where Tina would improvise, like the scene where there was a scene with the holy water, where she sprinkled the holy water. That was her. That was that was
and
yeah, that was Tita Bad doing her thing, where she even, I don't know if I can say this, where she poured the thing, on Darren's breast. Like, okay, since you can't breastfeed your child, maybe there's something with your breast. Let's sanctify your breast and all of that. And it's just like I said, it comes back to trust. Everything she did, like I could trust her in a saying, just that, like she could trust me, and that was the atmosphere, and it just made everything easy.
yeah.
And
So
also, it wasn't even with, sorry if I may add, it wasn't just with actors, just trusting each other. It was also with the director. And I have to say this every opportunity I get. Dami, what you saw, when you saw there from the actors, it wasn't just actors doing their thing. There's a magic that comes out when actors trust their directors. So with Dami, he got us to that point of absolute trust where he tells you to do something and there's absolutely no question on your mind as to if it was the right thing to do or not, because that trust has been built over time. So it makes it easy. It makes it easier because there's absolute trust, and you know that I gave my all to that role 100% because I knew that Dami, as a director of that project, had my back.
okay,
And that for me was just a gift.
okay. I'll go. Damilola is back with us now. So
He's back. I hope you
yeah,
didn't hear that.
yeah, I think he did. So we have some questions from the audience, and then I'll still get back to my question about whether or not you are making this a trilogy. Um, so the audience would like to know what major challenges you faced during production, and also what is the budget? What is the budget that you had to work with, and how many days the production took? Yeah, basically.
Um, yeah, so we shot for 9 days in Lagos. Um, Budget, pretty much low budget. I'll just leave it like that. Like pretty much. I mean, one of the reasons why I decided to make this particular film is because I've been trying to make different. I'm trying to make my first feature film, and then most of the scripts I have are just like very expensive to make. And then at this time, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna make a film that is quite intimate and very small, and like really just considered like a very small family. A film that really inspired me to do that was Amor, by Michael Anake, the French filmmaker. I mean, I saw the film again. I was like, okay, what? I'm gonna make this film. Make a film that is like absolutely very convenient, budget friendly. So it's quite low budget. I think the last question, issues. I mean, so every set comes with its own obstacles and the rest. I won't. I feel like For Maria was like the easiest film set I've ever been on. I mean, I've made short films in a day or in 3 days, in 4 days, and then most of them are actually like even more tedious than For Maria. And I feel like the reason is because For Maria, we're very intentional about it. We knew what we're doing. Like Meg said, the actors was perfect casting for me. And then they were like, it was like a family. It was like it wasn't like we're even working. It was like we come on set, we make jokes, we take the script and then we like dissect it and then deliver. So it's like really beautiful to see and to watch. There was nothing else. There was nothing extraordinary that I can actually remember now that I can point to and be like, oh wow. I mean, the only thing would just be like, because I produced the film also. So the only issue would be me having migraine in the middle of shoot when my PM will call me and be like, oh, I think we've got like 100K or 500K overboard, or we need XYZ money. And I'm like, where do you want me to get it from? like, like this is like personal funding. Where do you want me to get it from? I mean, aside from instances like that, I feel like it was a smooth shoot.
Okay, so 9 days of production, but for the audience out there that would like to emulate you, especially with such a film. So you're saying that there was a very low budget. You shot for 9 days. How long was post production, and maybe you can also give us some elements about pre production. How long it took you to really come with that story?
So pre-production took, I think, about 3 to 5 months. after I finished with writing the script, I sent to Meg. It was time for funding, and then we're planning to get funding from like NGOs or probably government institution, because this issue is actually like a social issue. But everything went into fertility, and at the point I just said to Meg, we're going to make this from ourselves, with our own money. But in the period of where we're looking for money, it was constant conversation with Meg, constant conversation with my DP, David White, who is amazing, with Floyd Anekwe, my production designer. I mean, these are guys that I've worked with on my short films. And these are guys I'm telling, you know what, I'm making a feature now, we need to give it everything. So it was watching references, discussing the life of this film. And then so this actually happened within, I think, 3 to 5 months. Then after production for 9 days, post-production actually took 1 year, because we shot the film November 2019, and then the film screened at, we had our world premiere at Film Africa on the 1st of November 2020. Actually, it was like a period of 365 days from the commencement of principal photography to actually screening the film. And then until the period where we're about to screen the film, we're still working on sound, we're still working on other things. So I would likely say it took a year. It was like constant going back and forth, like reading, looking at the film we have and then chopping it off. Oh, like for example, the opening we have in the script is different from what we have in the film. Like basically just retelling the story in edit. And during that period, Meg will call me and be like, "How's it going? How's my acting? Hope it's good. Hope it's great." I mean, I have to deal with all that.
No, but this is really interesting, and it's good. It's good that you mentioned all these details, because when people would just hear that the film was shot for 9 days, and they would not really think about everything that happened before and everything that happened after. So post-production for 1 year, a lot of back and forth. That's how you get to this kind of result. That's how you get to a great film, and that's important for people, especially people who are coming out of school and people who are trying to get into this industry to understand that. As Meg said at the beginning, you're part of this new generation of filmmakers in Nigeria that are tackling different issues, that are using different styles, different influences. The festival even talked about that, there was this edition, the 8th edition of Nollywood Week, was showing the emergence of a new scene. And your film was mentioned along with All Night Vibes or About a Boy, other films that are also in that same space. Now, I understand that you have influences from outside. You mentioned an influence from a French director, and I know you also you have other influences. But I wanted to know, within Nigeria, and even though you may be a bit different from what the mainstream produces in Nigeria, do you have influences? Do you have directors that you look up to within Nigeria?
Definitely. So I grew up watching the films of Mr. Tunde Kilani. I think I'm a big fan of him. I mean, I grew up watching Thunderbolts, which I think is a masterpiece. Shawari there, Tionuwanile. These are brilliant films that I feel like till now we've not had like films that actually like match to that standard. I'm talking about in terms of like storytelling, in terms of like acting, in terms of like structure. So these are like, I mean, I can confidently say that Tunde Kilani is like one of my biggest influences. I mean, I wanted to make film because I watched these films, And then right now, among my peers, I feel like we have like brilliant filmmakers doing like really good work. I really like Michael Galkin, one of the Serial Sustain brothers. I'm a big fan of Tomi Adekwetu. He's Nigerian, but he's based in the UK. I'm a big fan of Dario Lighton. I have like pretty much people that actually like watch their work and I'm like, oh, this is great. I think we have like really quite amount of Nollywood filmmakers that actually like breaking the boundaries. And then the Esiri brothers to Imofe. I think it's a brilliant film.
Nice, interesting. You mentioned Dario Lighton, you mentioned Tommy Sin. These are all directors that came to previous edition of the festival. Including Tommy Sin with his short film. I forgot the title now, but yeah, his short film was at the festival a few years ago. So that's interesting. It means that you're in the right space. To wrap it up, because we're gonna soon be out of time. Meg, I wanted to get back to you and you know, your acting, as it has been said already, has been amazing in this film. I wanted you to tell us about how do you decide what projects you take on, because you have been showing quite a range since you've been working in this industry, and is that deliberate or not? Is it by chance? Like, how do you pick the movies that you work with?
Um, for me, a story needs to speak to me. It needs to speak to me in a way that um, I have to be able to visualize it as I'm reading it. There are scripts that I get and I read, and I can't read it in pictures. And for me, it just tells me that that I'm not, I can't feel, maybe I can't feel the subject matter, or maybe it's not one that I connect with. So I take what I do seriously, and I feel like as storytellers, be you an actor or a producer or a director, our job here is to tell our stories, African stories. And for me, it's just very important the kind of stories that I should, choose to tell at every given point. And the way I know that is if when I read your story, can I see it? Can I see the vision with you? And if I read your script and I don't see it, I don't feel anything, then I wouldn't be quick to jump on such a project.
Okay. Okay, we understand now better why you end up in such great films. Um, Maybe Meg, you want to say a last word en français parce que tu as des fans en France aussi, donc peut-être que tu veux dire quelque chose en français.
That's all.
Qu'est-ce que je peux dire? Je sais pas. Bon, oh
I'm
gosh.
lost.
Je sais même pas quoi dire.
Tu peux dire merci au public, je sais pas.
Bon, merci. Yeah, it's the thing where you're multilingual when you're trying to speak one language. That's when everything just mixes up in your head. Bon, je vais dire merci, hein, merci tout le monde. I hope you all enjoyed the film, and hopefully, I'll be in Paris sometime, soon, maybe next year.
Hopefully, I think we are all hoping that the situation allows for that. Thank you, thank you, Meg. Merci beaucoup. Damilola, what is next for you? I was joking earlier that you made two films on that topic, so maybe there's a trilogy in the works, and maybe the next one will be after the baby is, I don't know, a toddler.
Funnily, I think the next one will actually be after the baby. I mean, so I'm working on it. I'm working on a film now. It's a film titled "The Stone Drill Reapers." So it's a film about a family that are trying to save and rescue their child who suffers sickle cell. It's a very emotional social issue. Kind of like talks about the issues in Nigeria as well. It's a brilliant story. And then I'm going to say something now. So I'm going to put Meg on the spot now. So we're still in the phase of casting. So we're filming next month. We're still in the phase of casting, and then we've been going back and forth on who to use as one of the mom in the film. And then we've talked to Meg, and then we've talked to different people, and then we're having I don't know if my producer has reached out to Meg, but I'm telling Meg right now, since this is live, that so Meg is our actor. So I'm going to be working with Meg also on this project, and then we're filming next month.
Thank you for the scoop. We appreciate that. It will be in the news tomorrow. Yes. That's it.
What a way to find out that I've been cast in a film. Oh, thank you.
This is perfect, and it's a perfect way to wrap up this session as well. This has been amazing, and it's an amazing film that we hope will travel. It also needs to go back to Nigeria, as you said, so it can be seen within different communities and start some conversations there. But we hope that the whole world can get to see it. That's what we can wish for the film. Thank you very much. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Damilola. I don't know if you have a last word to say, and then we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Nollywood Paris Week. Thank you, Serge. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Merci, Serge.
you can hit us up on social media. Let's talk about the film. You know, let's continue this
Okay.
conversation.
Merci
Sounds
Serge,
good.
merci tout le monde. J'espère que vous avez aimé le film For Maria. Merci et à bientôt.
À bientôt. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye.